Not going to take long, and then we'll play another game. So this shipment, everyone, is for the most OP shipments in the game. I said I wanted to do this for a long time. This isn't each civ's best card, but there could be more than one from a civilization. But I've tried to pick at least one card from every civilization. I think I've got one from every civilization, maybe not. There's two from a couple of civilizations, but I didn't want to go overkill because the same explanation can go for one card. Oh, well, they need to have this because that's the bonus, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what we're doing. So, right, so disclaimer as well. So just if one of these cards goes into D tier, it doesn't mean it's a bad card, okay? It just means it's the worst of the best cards, okay? So S tier is the best of the best. D is worst of the best. So even if it's in D, it's still a good card, hence why it's in here. If you guys think some of these cards shouldn't be in here, which I know some of you are going to disagree with, and I'm looking at Harrison, or if you think some should be added, let me know as well, and I might be able to add them. Right. I'm going to start. I'm going to shoot from the shoot to the top, right from the get-go. Okay. I'm going to take what you guys are going to say into consideration as well. Strongly take what you guys say, but I am also going to be a dictator, and I'm going to do what the fuck I want. All right. Shooting from the hip. Boom. S tier. 2C jellies. Someone tell me that's not the best of the best. Someone tell me. And don't tell me I picked the wrong one, that's Howder. Okay, pretend that's not the wrong card. Okay, I am a clown, but pretend that's 2C jellies. I don't think I put both in here. Howder. So 2C jellies. It's just OP, right? It's just OP. It's basically a cross between a mortar and a culverin. That doesn't need to unpack. Has an insane range resist. It only costs a few hundred food. It's just so good. It's just so good. It always has been. It always will be. It just shuts down 2 falconet pushes. It's just so good. It's just so good, and it deserves S tier. And not only is it just in S tier, it's at the top of S tier. Oh, you guys are kicking off already. I'll tell you what I'm going to quickly do. I think I need to... the screen doesn't see you guys, your chat. So I'm going to try and add the chat box. You should be able to see. I don't know why the chat box won't allow you to see it, but... Oh, well. Oh, well. Next one. Let's go for... Let's pick factory. Where do we think factory is? Now, you've got to take into consideration the time, like at what age you can send this shipment. People are saying D tier, people are saying B tier. D tier, really? Really? These are like the best age 4 cards to send, right? They don't give you in instant value, but they give you the return on value is very, very quick. People are saying C, B. So people aren't saying A or S, but people are saying B. I would put them at a solid B. Like, they can produce heavy cannons infinitely for the entire game. How is that not good? Yo, big gigs. It's Tuesday, innit, bruv? You know it. Okay, all right. So, I'm happy to leave that there. I'm not going to take too long on this, so I'm going to move quickly on. Let's pick Schooners. Yeah, this is kind of a wild card. This is kind of a wild card because 9 times out of 10, if you're going to do any serious degree of water booming, you need this card. You need this card. It got changed from vanilla or TAD on DE because now it trains them quicker. But where do you think this needs to be? C, it used to be better. It did used to be better. It got nerfed near the beginning of DE. Schooners I wouldn't even put in the best cards, to be honest. We'll leave it... Okay, I'll put it D for the moment. I'll put it for D for the... I know it's a little bit of a wild card, but... what's this tier list about? It's about the most OP shipments in the game. And I picked the wrong the wrong card here. This is not Mahoots. This is supposed to be Siege Elephants. So that top one there is Siege Elephants. Okay, we'll leave Schooners there. D is situational. C? 700 coins at a troll. No, I'll tell you what. Right. I'll go 700 coin right now because I'm not trolling. Okay. I was gonna put this right there, right? But I'm maybe gonna bring it down. And this is my reasoning, okay? This is what I'm gonna be a bit techy about. Before people start going, well, it's not even as good resource-wise as 700 woodline height, you noob. 700 coin is the reason. It's the reason why Fast Fortress exists. It's the reason why Spain have, since 2005, been able to be in your base with 2 falconets at 7 minutes 30. It's the reason Pirashiki exists in the game. Just like big brain it for a second, and think the grand scheme of things, right? What that card does. It allows you to get into age 3 extremely quickly to be able to then produce age 3 cards. Think about it. Think about it. See, look, Big Rob coming in here saying 700 coin is S tier. Exactly. Exactly. I was at 700 coin is S tier. It's S tier. Well, that's it. I'm glad people are agreeing with me. See, the funny thing is, 700 wood is a good card, but it doesn't deserve to be on this tier list. 700 food is trash, but 700 coin, because of what it does, is just S tier. It just is. How the fuck do you semi-FF without 700 coin? Big Gigas. Big Gigas. Man knows. Man knows. So it's going at the top of S tier. It's still not as good as Siege Elephants. But it's definitely S tier. Okay. Next on the list, let's do a villager. Let's do villagers, right? Because I was even tempted to put 3 villagers in here because 3 villagers is always used, right? So surely that means it's S tier. Let's start with 2 settler wagons. A tier. Straight off the bat, A tier. Think about it. 300 food is the norm for an age 1, right? Resource-wise, for an age 1 card. That's worth 400. That's 4 villagers. At such early stages of the game, 2 settler wagons is OP. Just makes sense, right? Kind of B tier. 2 settler wagons is B. Okay. Okay, I'll put it B. Harrison, don't steal my thunder, because I'm about to come onto that one next. Okay. Now, this was a wild card, but for the right reasons. See, Gigas is saying A tier. I somewhat have to agree, but this card, I think, has to probably be S tier. This is either S or A. Not because it's... Resource-wise, you could argue it's S+++++. Because it gives you a free Hacienda, which is almost like a Ville. It's not quite a Ville. It's like half of a Ville on food, I think, or something like that. Depending on how many cows you have. So on yak maps, or maps where you can get cows or yaks or goats, it's definitely S tier. But on a normal map where you don't, I think it's definitely A tier. The amount of XP you get when the Hacienda gets laid down is huge. But that's kind of Mexico's bonus anyway, is lots of XP, lots of shipments. It gives you 2 villagers. And the Hacienda, the most important thing is, if you want to rush, it's a shipment point. Harrison saying shocking game balance, to be honest. But the thing is, if they didn't have that card, or you nerfed it so it was, if they had 3 vills or 1 vill and 1 Hacienda, they would be trash. So it's for that reason why Mexico are able to compete. Because Mexico aren't top tier, they're not bottom tier, they're probably somewhere around the middle. So it's fair. So you have to take everything in consideration. But this is just talking about the card itself. So I think it's fair to say that might be an S tier. I could be persuaded that that's A tier, but we'll see. Let's do T export. Where do we think T export is? Because this is definitely the meta. But it's not that OP, is it? It's definitely good, but you could argue it wouldn't even be on this tier list. But I wanted something from China. So I think this is C or D. Gig saying B. It allows you to get the blockhouse. Now so think about how good that is. It allows you to get the blockhouse, which is good for rushing, or it's good for free fast fortress. Thanks to Mr. S tier up here. So is it that good? Like, is it good? It's not on the same level as like C jelly level. Do you know what I mean? Or 700 gold level. Look at me, Lionheart C tier. Look at me. I'm the captain now. It's B. Tad saying B. Creeper saying A. That's B, yes. Getting a lot of B's. B above settler wagons. I don't think it's above settler wagons. A or B. Okay. Okay. We are a democracy. I'm not always a dictator. We're a democracy. So I've listened to the people. And it's going in B tier. You can still FF. Free Vil, 700 gold, 700 wood instead. You can. But it's not the meta. And that's boring, Harrison. Just like you. Right. A fan favorite. Oh, hell. This card has caused people to uninstall the game, install it again, and then re-uninstall the game. Puroshiki, where are you? 2 falconet. I have picked for some reason, I've picked the infinite one here. I'm not talking about the infinite one. I'm talking about the one in age 3. Yes, the disclaimer out, okay? This disclaimer out. So this is single-handedly paired with 700 coin, the most infamous combination for any Spain lamers out there and any Otto lamers out there. So where do we think this is? People saying S. I mean, how can you say it's anything other than S? Like, you can have 2 huge bits of artillery at 7 minutes 30 in the game. Or generally around 8 minutes 30 in the game. It's better than A. It has to be better than A. Gig saying S tier. Creeper saying A tier. Tad saying S tier. Unless you ship it forward tower and lose one instantly. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Very clever. Very clever. It has to go S tier, right? And it has to go above. It has to go above there. It has to go above. The only thing it doesn't beat is 2 CJ. Now, falconets aren't actually that good. I mean, they are, but it's how early you can get that card in the game. It's just so insane. It's so insane. It gives so much tempo. People have to build orders just to be able around just how to defend against 2 falconets. Can we move 700 gold down to A tier? No, we cannot, Harrison. No, we cannot. See, the funny thing is, Harrison, 600 gold wouldn't even be on this tier list, and it's only 100 gold difference. Why? Because 700 gold for the tempo to get into Fast Fortress is just insane. It's what that card does. It's what that card does, which makes it so insane. So yeah, we'll put 2 falconets right at the top. Okay. Whilst we're on the subject of artillery, 2 heavy cannons. Now, where does this go? Because this kind of has the similar impact that 2 falconets does. Because it's like, oh, I've got into industrial. Bang, I'm going to send 2 heavy cannons. But by the time you can send it, other civilizations have ways of countering it. Because it takes so long to get into industrial. So it's an industrial card, which brings it down. Think about these cards. They're like age 1, age 2, age 3 cards. Because of tempo. But this is an age 4 card. Where are we thinking? A tier prob? Maybe not that high. Dory saying A. Boraski saying C. Now, I'd even go C tier. Gig saying A. Looks like we're coming to a B tier. The thing is, there are some insane industrial strats where, like, you're being rushed. The TC's almost being taken down. Boom! In come the 2 heavy cannons. 30 musk. See you later. It's 80, bruh. B tier. Yeah, but niche. I agree. Guys, A tier is the second best, the penultimate best cards in the game. Do we seriously think 2 heavy cannons comes that high? Top of B? I could argue top of B. I don't think it's A, but I could argue top of B. Okay, we'll put 2 heavy cannons there. Now this is another wild card. Cav Combat. Where's the 1k coin? Reason FIs exist. That's very true, Risotto, but FIs aren't as good as FFs. This is a bit of a wild card, because you're going to think, well, why is that in here? Because, yes, you need lots of Cav, but if you have lots of Cav, I've seen so many games where people have gone like the classic French semis, the German semis. I'm not talking about penises, I'm talking about the semi-FFs. And then you get into these battles where it's like 10, 11, 12 minutes into the game and you've got these big Cav masses. This is always the decider. This is coming in and bang, you go straight in for it. As soon as that comes in, bang, you go in there, Cav just demolishes everything. So it's, again, this is the sort of card where it's at the stage of the game, at the sort of 12-minute mark, And then bang, how much value does this card get? And if you've got lots of cav, this gives you insane value. Gig's saying A tier. Another A. See, I would have put it maybe CB. It still deserved its own moment on this list. But is it that high? B beneath cannons? It's good for every civ that has it. That's very true, Gigs. But it doesn't give you the same sort of... See, is it as good as 2 heavy cannons? Yes, probably, because you use it more often. And it gives you a huge spike. The moment it comes in, you attack. It gives you a huge spike. Easy A tier, says Shuffle. It's Cav Combat, FF, for fuck's sake. Late game is probably S tier. For Germans, it's S tier. For Spain, it's C tier. So I don't know. I agree, but it's specific for certain civilizations, and so it can be. The example can be for the best civilization that it has. It's not necessarily for every civ, because obviously not every civ gets 2 heavy cannons, for example. So for this could be the German version. So if we're talking about German Cav Combat, I think it definitely deserves its place in A. But for France, it could be CB because it's slightly less. Okay, we'll leave it there. We'll have some time at the end. To, consolidate. It's okay. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, talking about Cav, 9 uhlans. Right. I'm not looking anywhere below B tier. I'm looking at SA. That's all I'm looking at. S or A. That's all I'm looking at. And I'm leaning on the edge of S tier, and maybe definitely in front of 2 villagers, 1 Hacienda. Probably not quite on the same level as 700 gold, because it's thanks to 700 gold that 9 uhlans can get there. A, S, A, lots of S's, lots of A's. Totally agree. I think I'm happy there. Is it as good? It's not as good as the 2 falconets, but I've seen like battles where it's early fortress age. There's these big battles going on. Bang, 9 uhlan comes in. Bang, 8 uhlans comes in from the backside. Bent over. See you later. Good night. And I definitely think that's where it deserves. There's not much more to say about that because it's 9 uhlans. It's the only thing that's stopping it being maybe higher than that is the fact that you do have to up uhlans. You do have to up them. They don't auto up like 5 lancers, for example. Which, thinking about it, 5 lancers probably should have come on here, but I think 5 lancers would have been lower down anyway, so that's fine. Lionheart, this list is super fucked, to be honest. When is any of my lists not super fucked? Who cares? 6 Kenya Horsemen is even stronger shipment. Is it? The 9 uhlans? Is it? Risotto, funny enough, 5 hackers. Yes, I agree, but hackers are definitely gonna get nerfed next patch. So I think we can take that into consideration. Plus with Sweden, you have to send lots of other cards generally. So yeah. Tad's getting a bit of a hard on for Frigate. He wants the Frigate next. Okay, so we can do the Frigate next. Now you don't send this. You obviously only send this on water maps. You have to take that in consideration. But the amount of if you scout your opponent going water, you go right. I'm going fast fortress. The first card I'm going to send is a Frigate. They have to have, generally speaking, they have to have 3 caravels to be safe at taking that down. 3 caravels. That's over 1k resource. And if you, by the time you're able to send a Frigate, which is 1k resource, by the way, so you can get that out, again, you can get that at sort of 7 minutes 30, 8 minutes into the game. Bang. Don't forget things like New England. Yeah, where you can just plop it onto a lake. Insane value you can get from some maps. So I think it's fair to put that in A tier. I think above cavalry combat as well. Don't see anyone disagreeing with me. Ukati saying how is 2 settler wagon B tier? Because it's good, but it doesn't give you the same spike as, for example, it's not nowhere near as good as like 2 sea jellies or 2 falconets. Okay, moving on. Let's quickly go through some more settlers. So again, like 2 settler wagons, 3 cdbs isn't quite as good as 2 settler wagons, but it's not far off because obviously cdb is better than a normal villager. They're 120 food each, so you're getting an extra 60 food resource compared to the standard 300 in an age 1 card. I could argue it could be C, but I think it might be B tier. C or B. C or B. You get them faster with TP start and walking time hunts less. What are we talking about here? 3.6 fills. Yeah, it's sort of around that, isn't it? So need some C. Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe we'll the C tier is getting a little bit lonely there. I could argue it's C, but it's very close. It's very close. It's very close to like 2 settler wagons, for example. Okay, this is a no-brainer, right? This is a. Shall I just move on to the next card? Shall I just move on to the next card? Fetorias, unbelievably OP at the moment. Think about what it does. It gives you 4 trickles, so it gives you each resource and an XP trickle. Not only that, it's with ports, you get it per TC. So you just have to fast fortress every game, and you've got an insane trickle. It gives you an XP trickle. Why? 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 Yo, what's up, Master? How you doing? Just came from a free match ass whooping. Yeah, that's the standard with Age of Empires, man. But then you'll do the ass whipping, you know, tomorrow or something like that. It's just the way it works. Yeah, so it's funny. There's an actual strategy where you can Brazil Revolt and you can get infinite TCs. There's like a 2 TC card is infinite, so you can continue to send 2 TCs. So imagine you could technically have 100 TCs on the map. Like with Fetorias, it's just insane eco. So hopefully that's going to get balanced. I think that it's fair to say that is going to get balanced. I think it needs the food trickle needs to come down in line with the golden wood, which is 0.3. This isn't a balance discussion, so but if the food trickle is halved and you get rid of the XP trickle, maybe I think that would be okay. I think that would be an okay spot. Okay, moving on. Squagmire, we've discussed why 700 wood isn't in here. You'll have to watch it back, I'm afraid. Okay, it's age 1 card as well. It's an age 1 card. It's insane. Giggs doesn't even know about it because Giggs doesn't even play the game anymore. But Giggs, it's so good. Let's go with my favorite. Let's go with my favorite card now. I know I'm a scumbag. I know I'm a piece of shit. I know people don't like playing my style. Because I'm a piece of shit and I use a fort card in 50% of my games. But objectively speaking, forts do give you insane value. It's funny because people hate playing against that style, but it's also the same reason that people love watching me. So where does a fort go? So forts have been buffed recently as well. So forts have 9k HP. They work as a barracks and a stable, and they can build falconets. So it's a barracks, stable, and half of an artillery. Admittedly, you can't get upgrades from forts like you can barracks cells, but still, you know, if you've got 1 barracks or 1 stable, you know, you can essentially use the fort as a dual racks or dual stable. You know, and it's very versatile. If with USA and Mexico, if you send mercenary cards, you can also build them again from the fort, like Magyar Hussars. Very difficult to take down. It does come with drawbacks. Obviously, it means unless you're using it aggressively, which is definitely a valid strategy. If you're using it defensively, which is 9 times out of 10, it does force you to play defensively and give up the map. So it does have lots of drawbacks. Don't you think you should be training rather than wanking on the tier list, by the way? Well, Giggs, I know I'm gonna get 3-0'd by Julian. I don't really care. You know, so where do we think Fort should go? S tier for Russia and team. I'm thinking of maybe C tier, maybe B tier. Risotto saying D. Fort based on civs. I mean, you can argue for certain civs better than others, but I think maybe C tier. Nah, it's B. Is it B tier? It does allow for lots of defensive play. It's a mainstay for all fast industrials. Certain strats is really strong. Yes, certain strats is really strong, but certain strats it's not. A lot of people don't even have it in their decks. You got to remember that. It's only for certain strats, and that's why it's not an every pick. It's not an everyday pick card. C for sure. I think C. Yeah. I did feel like it's worth mentioning though because it is a very strong card if it's utilized right. Okay, let's move on. Let's go for Let's do some mercenary cards. So straight off the bat, let's go for Spahi. Where do we think Spahi is? I mean, S, right? It has to be, right? It has to be S. I was hovering over A there, and I just thought it has to be better than that. If that was introduced into the game, if 5 Spahi was introduced in the game as 1k gold, none of you would say shit, right? None of you would say nothing. But it's 1k food. Think about that. Think about that. That's like what, 600-700 gold in reality? It's been in since 2005. It's such an insane card. It gives so much tempo. It's relatively easy to ship and get 1k food. It can only be sent with Ottoman, of course, but think about what it is. Games have been won single-handedly on that card. And to be honest with you, I think it's even better than uhlans. It's got to be better than 9 uhlans as well. Wigton Court needs to be on the list, then 9 Hut. Risotto, that is a very good point. I should have put Wigton Court on here. Wigton Court would definitely have been like a B-A tier. But Otto's burn lots of food. It's just so good. It synergizes so well with Otto, so well with the Fast Fortress. You don't even need to Fast Fortress to do it. You can stay in H2 and then it adds so much value. And it's always in the back of opponents' minds. Like, you always have to make anti-cavalry. Always. So I think it has to go S tier, 100%. I don't think people are really going to say much about that. Yeah, Creeper, you're right. They heal as well. They heal. I just got a memory from OneDrive and his Clash of Clans. Goodness gracious, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, let's have a look. What else? Big Boy. Not much to say about this. When it first got introduced into the game, it was like up here, but it got nerfed considerably. It's nowhere near as good as, for example, 2 falconets. It's nowhere near as good as 2 sea jellies. I think it's either C or D. It's still good versus infantry. It's still very good versus infantry. It has a very slow rate of fire, but it also acts as a mortar. So it is still good, and I think it deserves its place on this list, but potentially at the bottom. Potentially at the bottom. People saying it's not good. Wrong on this one. D tier. Aesthetically S tier. Yeah, Boris, I agree with you there. It's just it's not good against artillery either. So like even falconets beat it. The only thing it's realistically good for is against infantry, but it has an extremely slow rate of fire. And it acts as a mortar, so it puts pressure on your opponents to kind of have to come to you as opposed to you come to them. But it's nowhere near as good as 2 falconets. Nowhere near. Not even close. It's very slow as well, guys. So it's extremely slow. There's no pack or unpack animation, but because it doesn't have an unpack animation, it's incredibly slow. You can't micro very well with it at all. So the speed of it, the speed alone of it makes it D tier. Worse than 1 falcon. It's not worse than 1 falcon, but it is good. It's a good card. Don't get me wrong, but compared to the rest of the shipments in this list, it's definitely worse. Better than Schooners? No, it's not better. It's not even better than Schooners. It's not even better than Schooners. So I think I'm going to put that at the bottom. Just remember, guys, these are all OP cards. It's just which is the best of the best or worst of the best. Okay. Let's go. Right. My second favorite card next to the fort is Heavy Fortifications. This card is a beast. It fully upgrades forts. It fully upgrades outposts. The inflation in score alone, it gives you almost 10k score just for shipping this, right? The bluff of the score lead. I have seen people winning the game, right? Winning the game eco-wise, military-wise, but because their opponent shipped this and their score jumped 10k, the opponent quit. The opponent literally quit because of the bluff, because of the empty 10 plus 10k score. I've literally seen that. That's insane. It's just so good. It's just so good. Top of B tier. Emotional damage. It gives people emotional damage. S tier. I don't think it's S tier because remember it's still an industrial card. So you're not sending it very often. It's still, you can only send it in industrial. But I think bottom of A is fair because it's still very good. You have to have a fort out. You have to have outposts out for it to be worth sending. So don't forget that either. I just remembered. I hope I don't sound too grainy. I haven't got my mic thing over. Better than 2 heavy cannon? I don't think it's better than 2 heavy cannon. But is it though? That's a very good point. I think I have to put heavy cannons there then. I think I have to move heavy cannons up. Yeah, you can't just think of how much resources it's worth, because if you did that, then the 2v1 Hacienda would be at the top of S by a mile. It's generally all about how much tempo these cards give you and how much they sway a game. And obviously, it's only good for defensive strategies. I think that's fair. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Better than a factory? Yes, because with a lot of turtle strategies, you have to have a fort. You have to have heavy fortifications before you can ship these in. And, you know, if you don't have heavy fortifications, you ship them in, and a lot of the time, they're just going to get taken down. And the factory takes a long time, not a long time, but quite a while before it gives you the same level of resources that other cards do. Okay, moving on. This is an interesting one. So, where does the infinite free Gatling? It's not infinite free Gatling, but where does the infinite Gatling card come? So, obviously, this card gives you 3 Gatlings, 2 Gatlings, 1 Gatling, and then if you ship it again, 3 Gatlings, 2 Gatlings, 1 Gatling. So if you consistently use this card, it gives you an average of 2 Gatlings, which, when you think about it, is quite bad. Like shipping 2 because they're like 350 resource. So to have an average of 2 is the same level of resource as an Age 2 card. However, it gives you a lot of tempo. It gives you a lot of tempo, and that cannot be understated. I like sending this card sometimes. I like sending this card twice and only twice. So you get 3 Gatlings and then 2 Gatlings. The thing is it better than 2 falconets? Is it better than 2 falconets? I think I'm going to get a lot of hate if I don't put this in S tier. That's the only thing. And I don't want to be biased because USA is one of my mains. Not better than 2 Falcs? Yeah, to get 5 Gatlings, you have to send this card twice. Remember, though, USA get cards more frequently than civilizations that send 2 falconets. So you have to take that in consideration as well. I think we put this in S tier. I think that has to be S tier. I think it has to be S tier. But I don't think it's as good as 2 falconets. Anything below 1800 is better than 2 Falcons. Just trust me. Agreed. I don't think it's better than 2 falconets, but it is a good card. Because you remember, 2 falconets with proper micro beats 3 Gatlings. So you cannot forget that. But 5 Gatlings does beat 2 falconets, but then you've had to send it twice. And we're not talking about that, but we are taking everything into consideration. So I think tempo-wise, it's a very good card. And USA often rely on it for much of their strategies. Okay, moving on. On the subject of artillery, this motherfucking card has made me rage quit the game. The amount of times I've played Kevin and he's used this card, like I actually think he's used this card. He's been able to get up into industrial more than 50% of the time I've played Kevin's Haudenosaunee, and this card is so insane. I'm even tempted to put this above 2 falconets. Now, with Haudenosaunee, the thing is, it's still an industrial card, but it gives insane value, insane tempo. Haudenosaunee essentially age up with 2 as well, and then you ship that and you've got 6.
Emotional damage.
Not above 2 Falcons. If it's not above 2 Falcons, it's got to be here. It's got to be around here somewhere. No way above Falc. Don't forget, light cannons are insane. They don't need to. They get auto upgraded because there's no upgrading. They essentially work as they're decent against. They're decent against buildings because they've got good range and good damage. They're good against any artillery. They're still good against culverins because even though culverins outrange them, they outspeed them like hell. There's no unpack animation. True, you don't see industrial every day though. That's very true, and that's the only reason I'm not putting them above 2 falconets. It's essentially a card for Howden's only defense against artillery in majority of games. 2 falcon you send naked as well. Not always though. Like 2 sea jellies. It's like on the same level as sea jellies. It is such a good card. Like the tempo that gives is so insane. I think I have to put it there. I have to put it there. It can't go any lower than that. It can't go any lower than that. Okay. Harrison's favorite card. Harrison's favorite card. Now, this is California Go Watch. I felt like this had to be in the game. This had to be on this list because although tempo-wise it's terrible, it gives insane resource-wise. It's insane. And it's very, very good. Why no Morris Canal? Because Morris Canal is terrible now. So where does this go? Where does this go? I don't think it can go below B tier. I'm tempted to put it A tier. The thing is, you have to have a lot of you have to have a lot of town centers for it to come in to fruition. It takes a long time for it to kind of give you a decent eco. But if you can survive, if you pair it with things like heavy fortifications, it in the late game is very good. But it's still slow. That's the problem, and it's an industrial card. Is it as good as T Export? I don't think so. For USA, right? That's right. I've put 2. I've accidentally put 4 in here again, but that was by accident, so we'll leave it in there. I think I'm going to leave it at the bottom of B tier. I know if Harrison was in chat, he'd put it in S tier. But it takes a long time for it to come to fruition. You can't use it against every civilization because, like for ports, for example, they'll be by the time you get 99 vils with this, compared to some civs like ports, they'll be in 99 vils 20 minutes before you are. So I think it's fair to put it at the bottom B. It does give you a gold, a gold, what do you call it? A gold mine as well. So that's a really nice added twist to it. So we'll leave it on there. Let's go for this. Is an interesting one. This is the card that Mexico get, where they essentially get 1 Genico per shipment that they've spent. I saw it the other day used with Kevin, and it really swung the game. Like it can give insane tempo if you've got them like skirm goon battles going on, and it can literally swing games, and it gives such insane. Don't forget as well, Mexico gets shipments faster than other civilizations, so you can get a lot of these at sort of like the 14-minute mark. This is a really good card, but no one goes regular age 3. That's a good point, Harrison, because there's more incentive to go for revolt. But there's a lot of like Kevin, Ungers, they do play it. They do play it standard. I have this shipment to be nerfed when Mexico was released. I asked this shipment to be nerfed. I think it's fair to put this in C tier. The thing is, like you got 9 uhlans, for example, but at like 14 minutes of the game, you're gonna have way more than 9 Chinicos, but you can't send it. You can't send it instantly, because by the time you get into age 3, if you go into age 3 early, you don't get the same value as 9 uhlans. But if you wait longer in the game, you get more than 9. So if you survive, it's worth it. So I think I'm gonna put that in B tier. I think I'm gonna put it above. No, it's not as good as T Export. I think I'm gonna put that at the bottom of B. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to put that there. Yeah, I think you send this like 20 plus min mark. Yeah, even before that. Even before then. But I think it's fair to put it there. I think it's fair to put it there. Alright, let's move on. What's the next card? 3 settler wagon. Light with 2 settler wagon. It has to go there, right? AS. Where else can this go? S tier, bro. It's the same. The thing is, it's the same as 2 settler wagons. So you could argue that it's here because you have to be in the next age to get it. But it's essentially exactly the same. Although in age 2, it's not the same resource value. But you can't take that into consideration because the norm is 5 villagers in age 3. And that's essentially giving you an extra villager. Top of A. I think that's fair, you know. Can you even play Germany without it? No, 100% you can't. 100% you can't. 2 settler wagon better than 3 settler wagon? Resource value, you're right, Chiss. But I mean, there's an argument to put 2 settler wagons in A, to be honest. I mean, to be honest with you, you could argue you could do that. Every settler wagon is really good. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to leave it like that. Because they're so good. They are so good, eco-wise. Ah, Kevin, I forgot about that. That's right. You are 100% right. Because it gives 2 uhlans as well. Whilst the 2 settler wagon doesn't give it any uhlans. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. I think we'll put it just below 9 uhlans. I forgot that it gives you that free shipment as well of uhlans. It's insane. It not only is it the best eco card in the game. I mean, arguably in age 3, because other civilizations only get 5 villagers. You get 2 uhlans from it as well, which is for an extra 300. Let's work at it. So settler wagon's 200 wood, right? So 246, right? Add 300 from 2 uhlans. That's 900 resources. That card is worth 900 resources. That's almost an age 4 card. It has to be S tier. Has to be S tier. This is why I'm overpricing 900. No, because because Harrison, 9 uhlans, you have to take into consideration the tempo. The 9 uhlans, literally, forget about bonuses and all that. Think about the tempo that 9 uhlans gives. It comes in when you're having those battles and it literally swings games. It's like, compare 9 uhlans to 3 curs that France get. It's so insane. It's so insane. Tempo from 8 skirmishers plus 3 uhlans. I agree, we could put a lot of Germany cards in here, but I didn't want to spam them because, you know, it's the same principle that they get 3 uhlans with everything. Yeah, Cav combat's high though. Cav combat is high. Okay, let's move on because I need to finish these now. I've got people around. I need to go say hello. Okay, Mamluks. I will put Mamluks next to Spahi. I will put 4 Mamluks next to 5 Spahi. Again, yes, it's 1k gold, but they have like 1500 HP. They literally win games. They literally win games by themselves. That one shipment, just like 5 Spahi, literally win games. Like, how can it has to be S tier? Has to be S tier. 5 Mamluk better than entire, but it's only 5. It's only 4 Mamluks. If it was still 5, then it would be at the top. It would be S plus tier. But because it's only 4 now, I think it sits nicely next to 5 Spahi. Yo, what's up, Chiss? How you doing? Where's 4 Axe Riders? Where is 4 Axe Riders? There's no such thing anymore. The thing with Mams is when Mams come in your face, you know it will be hard to defend. Exactly. And it's the same principle with 5 Spahi. You know that they've got them in their deck. Every Ottoman has them in their deck. And you have to have anti-cav. You have to play against Ottoman. You can't do your own thing versus Ottoman. You have to play versus the Mamluk and Spahi card. It has, just like heavy fortifications with the plus 10k score, it has intimidation buff. Like, it's literally an intimidation card. You don't even have to send it. Just the fact that it's in your deck is intimidation. That's how good that card is. Pure intimidation. Intimidation! Okay, there's 4 cards left. Let's go for... Oh, cheeky bandit. Let's go for Urumi, the Whippy Boys. Now, they're not as strong as like Spahi or Mamluks. They do get countered by by artillery and heavy cavalry. But I've seen these pop. I've seen these pop from an agrifort like at the last second and just completely win a game. Completely win the game. Like, I honestly think the thing is you can't always rely on a good pop with Urumi, and they have to get in. But if you get a good pop against your opponent, they're as good as Spahi. They're as good as Spahi with the right pop. B tier. People are saying B tier. If we're talking B tier, it probably has to sit around here, I think. Just below. But could it be A though? Could it be A? Urumi timing is everything. That's the only problem with this card, because they're not calves, so they can't get in quickly. They can be microed. But with the right pop, they can be insane. I've seen so many indie games won single-handedly with this card. Single-handedly. I've seen Engate, yeah, exactly, Bandit, exactly. Only good when Urumi pop out on opponent's army. Yeah. But even if they don't, they're still good. They're still good because you have to forcibly micro them. Otherwise, if they get in, they would destroy most things. Okay, we'll leave it there. Next one is 5 center horsemen. I wonder where to put this, because 5 center horsemen almost has the same HP as Mamluks, as 4 Mamluks, right? On top of that, they have more damage because there's 5 of them. Okay, they have range resist like Mamluks, but on top of that, they're not even food. They're not even one of the mainstay resources. They're essentially an extra resource that they get for free. Sorry, I've got a dog poking into my door. They're essentially, I call it the coffee bean. Like export with agencies, it's like a free extra resource. You don't even have to particularly spec into the resource, and you will end up with 1k at some point. And it has the same impact as Mamluks, in my opinion, but it's more underrated because you tend to not get them quite as quickly as Mamluks. So I think they're like a slightly worse Mamluk shipment. So I'm happy to keep them in the bottom of A, because again, the problem is you don't see many Ethiopias, but when you do, you forget this card exists, and you can't. And it's the same principle with Spahi and Mamluks. You have to make anti-cav. So I think we're going to keep it there. Right, 2 more. Top of A. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. My dog's trying to come into a door. I was tempted. I didn't know whether to put this one in at the end or not, and to mention this because the thing is, this card, the 8 Abbas gunners, like, it's only 500 coffee beans, right? I call it coffee beans. It's only 500 coffee beans, but it's 8 in age 2, and this card is the reason why Ethiopia are so good in age 2, You can essentially just mass Gaskenya, which is essentially musketeers. Boom! You just pop that one in there. Now you've got a Jan Abbas army. It's insane, and there's 8 of them. 8. So where do we put this? It doesn't give the same sort of... They can be hit by TC fire. You know, they can get killed by cav. They're not as good as the higher mercs, but I felt like it was still worth mentioning because they are still that good. Those 2 howders really up there. It's sea jellies, Julian. You troll. Okay, last card. 2 flaming arrows. Now, flaming arrows, like the amount of Japan games where they've shipped this and it's completely fucked me up, completely fucked me over. Like, they essentially are a bad falconet, but like halfway between a falconet, but also halfway between a culverin. They out fucking range falconets, right? And you can send it twice. Very often, you playing against Japan, you're forced to make culverins or cavalry. Every card that counters 2 falconet equal S tier. I mean, I'm just leaving it there for the moment because, you know, I'm just leaving it there. But I can't find an argument why you wouldn't put it up here. I can't find a reason why you wouldn't put it up here. Is it even better than 2 falcons? Is it even better? The thing is, I don't think it's better because it's with Japan, right? So Japan can't get into fortress. Generally, they can't get into fortress as quickly as like Spain, for example. So I think it's up there. How is 700 coin worse though? Yeah, then the best artillery shipments. Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Like we all know that the artillery shipments are the best shipments in the game because of the tempo that they give. I knew Ungus. I knew if Ungus saw this, like he'd say, "Why are the Chinicos here?" Ungus, don't forget, right, that you have to wait a few minutes in. You can only really send that at like 13, 14 minutes in the game before you start getting more value than a normal cav card in Age 3. But when you do, they are insane value. You could make an argument that the Chinico card needs to go there, because thinking about it, like again, like 9 uhlans, it can swing a game if you've got those back and forth, and the tempo that it can potentially give you is insane. But you still have to wait for it, and often it's not. It's the thing is as well. It's a feudal card, so you're forced to go into certain age up. Like there might be other age ups you want to go in, but you feel like you're forced to go into this one because of one card. You've got to take that into consideration as well. And often there's more incentive to go for revolts than there is to go for Age 3. So that's the rationale behind why the Chinico card's there. So that's the tier list, guys. That is the tier list. It took a little bit longer than I wanted to.